Hello everyone, I'm Thomas Michaud and this is Real Guitar Live. Welcome! Today I'm going to do my best to answer all your guitar questions. I've got a bunch of pre-submitted questions, and by the way, you're always welcome to send me an email and give me a question ahead of time. But feel free to ask your questions today. Just enter them in the chat. I ask that if you could, please start with the word question. That way I can quickly sort it out from the comments and I'll know it's a question. If I miss your question, I apologize in advance. Please just add it again at the end. It just means I didn't see it as I went down. So the way this works is first I'm going to answer questions, starting with the pre-submitted, and then go to the chat, and then I'm going to do a drawing. This is for people who are on a Real Guitar Success membership and have completed the guitar sessions for the month. That just means that they spent 10 minutes on each session, one each weekday. Then at the end of the month, they get entered into a drawing for a $50 Amazon gift card, just something to make it a little more fun. The real benefit is by doing these sessions each day, you're adding to your guitar skills in a very practical way, and a combination of ways that it's sort of like getting a chance to jam and play different things with different people. That kind of the way I was brought up. Nowadays, we have the internet. So let me get started with the first. Oh, I know. Before I start answering questions, I want to do a little lesson on Wishing You Were Here, the intro. Now, I'm not a big fan of just learning song. Not that they're bad, but that it's not the most efficient way to learn. But there are songs like this one that make basically a great exercise, and even better because people recognize it. This is a great exercise to learn to strike chords and then play a little melody in between the chord changes. And I would recommend it for everybody, no matter what style, even if you don't recognize the song, just treat it as an exercise. And if you recognize it, that's just a bonus. It's fun to play this. It uses the G and an E minor chord that I really like the fingering too, and I think it's a great exercise to practice this fingering between the 4-finger G and the E minor. Let me show you what we're going to be playing. Let me make sure you can see my guitar. I'm going to need to, bring the camera down a little. How about that? Will that work? You need to see a little more guitar. Or can I get taller? Let's try that. Well, I got shorter. Better, huh? Whoa, I'm up here now. I think that's as tall as the chair goes. And cross my, yeah, now I can see the guitar. Okay, so here we go. Okay, let's break that down. First of all, recognize the chords, a 4-finger G, and then I'm doing an E minor. What was I playing like that? I think it would technically be called an E minor 9 because I got that D note in there next to the 9. A lot of people call it E minor 7. If you'll see on the internet, a lot of people call it E minor or E minor 7. And then this chord here, very similar, right? You can see I'm keeping my fingers right here the whole time. And that's one of the keys to playing this, and why I think it's a good practice exercise also. I'm going from the G to this E minor to this, we'll call it A sus. It's my best shot for now. All the time my third and pinky are staying right there, anchor fingers. And it really helps the other fingers get in the right place. And it's a good practice to get into when you can. Not that often, but in this case, going from G to E minor to D even is a very common progression. So you get a better chance of using it here than in a lot of other chord progressions. Let's start with that first. We're going to break it down now. I'm going to make a G chord. We're not actually going to play the G chord, but that's the fingering to play this lick. So those are the three notes. I'm playing the 6th string, 3rd fret of the G, open A string, and then hammering down with my first finger. Let me see if that's right. Yeah. Then the open D string, that's the 4th string. And then I'm going to bring that first finger down on that D string 2nd fret, and then play the chord. So just that much again. G. Don't have to play the chord. I just was showing you I've got a good full 4-finger G. That's the 3rd finger and the pinky on the 1st and 2nd strings there. And then I've got my 2nd finger stretched over to the 3rd fret on the 6th string, and the 1st finger on that 5th string 2nd fret. Now, from here, the lick. 6th string. I don't need this finger yet. Open, hammer down, hammer on exercise all in one. Open D string, and then move the 1st finger over to play this E minor 9. So if you want, try that with me right now. Slow. 6th string, open A, hammer it down, open D string, and move the 1st finger over, strum. Let's just do straight down strum. Don't get caught up with how the strum should sound. There's a lot of flexibility there. I'm going on to the next lick. Now, I'll tell you ahead of time, you don't have to memorize every note because the licks repeat. I'll show you, I'll point out the repeat. So you want to practice the lick once and you're going to use it again. You don't have to relearn the whole thing. 2nd lick is a new lick now. We're starting with that 4th string, which is a D string, with the 1st finger down. Then open 3rd string, back to the D string, and then take the 1st finger off. And that's the lick. So you've already got your finger there from that last lick. Let's try it. 1st finger, 2nd fret, 4th string, D string. Open, G string. Back. And then open it up, 4th string. And then you're going to strum the G chord again. You go back to the G chord. So let me show you what that looks like together, and then we'll do it together. Together now, as best you can. Consider this a walkthrough, by the way. I'm not expecting most people to just get it, watch me, and then imitate. Some can, but for the most part, just consider this like a walkthrough. Like if you're doing a dance, you're just putting your foot, the best you can and making adjustments. And that'll give you a little edge when you try and practice it on your own. And of course, this video is going to be on YouTube and you can watch it over and over. From the top, start with that 6th string. Go. Strum twice. We're just marking where that chord's going to be. 2nd lick, 4th string, 1st finger down there. 3rd string, back to 4, open it up, and then G chord. Now the next lick is exactly the same as the first one. Excuse me. We're going to just repeat that whole thing, both licks back to back. So here we go. I'll just do the repeat so we can move on to the next part. So that was the repeat. Pretend we just did that whole thing twice. Now, here comes the next part, a slightly different lick. Yeah, it starts the same. Let me see. Let me make sure I got this right. Bear with me. Yeah, I was right there. And here's where it changes. So, not difficult. That's the 4th string, 2nd fret, and your finger's already there. Open, over to the A string, the 5th string, but put the 1st finger down, 2nd fret, and then open. So all together it's 2nd fret, open, 2nd fret, open. Let's do that much. And again, your 3rd finger and pinky are sticking right there. Here we go. 1st finger on the 4th string, D string, go. Open, over the 5th string, 1st finger down, and then open. Now we're going to make that A sus chord. So you're going to put these 2 fingers on the 4th and 3rd strings. Pinky and 3rd stay where they are. I love that chord. It's very lifted. It feels like, yeah, it's going to resolve to something, but it's kind of positive way. And then we're going to go on to the 2nd lick. But let's just do that one more time. Here we go. 1st finger, 4th string, go. Open, and make that A sus chord. 2 fingers down. Now, here's the next lick. It's very similar to what we already did, but we're just skipping one note. Instead of starting here, it goes here. See, it's this first lick without that first bass note, so it's. Do that with me and we'll put it together. You'll see how it fits. Just practice it with me for a minute. Start with the open A string and hammer on. Open D string. And then 1st finger down and we play that E minor 9 chord. One more time. Yeah, that was right. I did it right. Let's try it again. It's a shorter lick, huh? It's like missing a note. Then we repeat that whole thing. So it's going to sound like this, and we're going to do it together. We start there. Whoops, I'll do it again. That's where we start. G chord. Oops. No. There we go. There we go. And that A sus. Now we repeat that, but we skip that G note. So that's the whole thing. Play it through twice. Let's do it together. Just a walkthrough again. We're starting from the G. We're coming from that first batch of licks. Here we go. 4th string, strum, just twice. Now that 2nd lick. Open. 1st finger. Open. Make that A sus. Now start from the open A string and hammer on. Strum twice. That's that E minor. And the same lick again. A sus. And we finish it just by going to the G chord. And by the way, that sets it up for going into the first verse. Let's try the whole thing once through, slowly, and again, a walkthrough. Don't expect to all of a sudden memorize and play it perfectly, unless you've played it before, you're very experienced. Here we go. Ready? Starting with G chord, go. Next lick. Now we're going to do that whole thing again. we're starting that second batch of licks. Here's a different lick. Whoops. To the A sus. Now we're going to hammer on that A string. Same lick again. A sus. Two more strums. It's a little longer there. And then we go to the G chord. Just so you hear where it goes from here. Na 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 na. Na 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 da da. And so on. Okay, that was fun. I hope you enjoyed that. Again, any part of that, think of it as an exercise. So it's not about getting every note exactly right or getting the whole thing. Anything that you get out of this would be an improvement in your guitar playing, just something you can practice. And of course, if you want to learn the whole thing, this happens to be a song that we're going to tackle in the Real Guitar Success membership in October. I think it's the third week. I'm not positive. And what we'll do is we'll actually divide the whole song up into 5 days, and I'll show you parts of the lick, exercise to practice to get it, then the chord changes, and then the play along. So you can play the whole thing with a band, basically. So it'll be a lot of fun. For those who are members, and for those who aren't, you can always sign up for 14 days for free. So it doesn't have to be about the money. And if you find it's worth the money, stay, please. Love to have you. Okay, let's start with the questions. I'm starting with the pre-submitted questions. And please feel free to keep adding questions in the chat. I'm going to get to them. Hey, welcome. Kenny here from the Netherlands. That's wonderful. And Michael from Alameda. That's my hometown. First question. How do you stop the right hand from creeping towards the neck? Oh, right hand. That's my right hand. Got it. Creeping towards the neck when you're strumming. Okay, I keep resetting it, but Diane says her arm's short, so arms aren't long, so I find myself strumming towards the neck. So let me see what that's like. So first of all, Diane, that's not a bad thing. There's not one right place to strum. I generally say aim towards somewhere in here, and you get a little different sound if you go up here towards the bridge. And if you go towards the neck, you get a smoother sound. For a lot of people, that's a good strum. Now, if you're way up here, I'd say that's a problem, but that doesn't sound like that's the case. It's okay. Strum up there. Now, if you don't want to strum up there, if you want to lean back here, I would just check your posture and see that you're sitting up, and your guitar, it doesn't have to be straight up and down, but don't let it keep sliding down. I'm not there to watch it, so I don't know if that's an issue or not. But I know when I do that, I start having to manipulate both hands actually to do something different when my guitar starts sliding down. And in general, I wouldn't worry too much about it. I would say if you want to pull back your hand once in a while, try experimenting with how it sounds when you strum. Move your hand up and down. And the thing is, the more you do that, the more control you'll have. And I think that's kind of what you want, is to feel more in control of where your hand is strumming. It's not bad or good to strum up here, but you want to be able to move around if you want a little different sound. And then there's a more advanced technique to strum here and move around. Okay, let's go on to the second question. I've been finishing up the beginner's journey, and I'm working on the bar chord course. Bar chords are, it's called bar chords for everyone. Bar chords are going slow, but I guess that's normal, and it is, by the way. I'm not sure where to go next. The weekly program is a bit too advanced, but I know I need to keep working. I've been trying to do bar chords and some finger strengthening and flexibility exercises. Wondering if you have any suggestions for the next steps. So Arthur is talking about the Real Guitar Success membership. And there's a beginner course to kind of give you the basics, and then there's an advanced, not advanced course, but a bar chords after that. I say bar chords for after you've got the basics. In addition, there's guitar sessions. There's one each day. I usually ask students to complete the first beginner course before they start the guitar sessions. But then the guitar sessions, you can do the bar chords and the guitar sessions at the same time. When you hit a bar chord, it's going to be tough. But the guitar sessions are different. And this is something you need to keep in mind, Arthur. You can do the bar chord, you can do the guitar sessions. They're not too advanced for you. If you think in your mind you've got to accomplish every session, yeah, you're going to come up with stuff that's really tough. But that's not the point. The point is to just spend 10 minutes, get exposed to what they're teaching, and then work on what's your level. In other words, just work on the parts that feel like they're improving. Some of the sessions are really simple. Basic, simple chords. You're going to come to a lesson on I can see clearly now the rain has gone. Oh, it's low. I can see clearly now. Or it's up high there. Doesn't really fit my voice. But what I'm saying is that that's not above your level. That's no bar chords. Just do a session 10 minutes a day. And then decide if you want to spend more time on it. If it is too many bar chords or way more advanced than you feel ready, just let it go. Check it off and move on. If it's something that you feel like you could get, you want to work on, you're not quite there, put it in your bookmarks and save it for later. Then on the weekend or when you have more time, go to your bookmarks and pick the sessions that you want to work on. That way you kind of make your own customized program. You're being exposed one lesson each weekday, one session, and then you choose from there the sessions that are appropriate for you and you want to work on more later. And you can do that on the weekend, or you can spend more time each weekday, just after your 10 minutes, start working on your favorites, and you'll collect exercises and things that you can use for warm up. And basically, it's a combination of being exposed constantly to something new. This is how it would be if you were jamming with other people without as much stress, because people aren't watching you and you feel like you got to get it right then and there with the internet. But that's how I was brought up. You jam with other people and they're constantly throwing new things at you, and you can only grab a few things, but you go home and practice them and work on it. It's stressful because, you feel like people are expecting you to do something you can't quite do. So it's replicating somewhat of that situation. Only the nice thing is you can even go back to some of the lessons, and you can't do that when you're playing live with other people. So the other thing I would recommend is review the bar chord course. This is a very important strategy. Review. Learning something like guitar or most anything, it's not you go through the material once and you got it or you don't and you're out of luck. You review and you I'm still reviewing basic stuff. This is the deal. This is how you learn any skill that involves at least a body and mind kind of stuff. You are probably ripe to just start from the beginning of the bar chord course and just go through it step by step. But if that doesn't feel appropriate for you, you pick where you think you need to go back and review. But you're probably going to need to review quite a bit, would be my guess. Bar chords are not easy. And most people don't get them the first time around they're exposed to it. You just keep working on it and whittling away little by little. And then try the bar chords when it comes with the guitar sessions, and be willing to just let it go if it's just not working. Just spend your 10 minutes and move on. But little by little, these things add up. The amount of time that you're spending on it and adjusting your fingers eventually catches up to become a skill that you have. And then you'll go, that used to be hard. I don't know why I thought so. That's a lot of my experience playing guitar. I remember that used to be difficult. Just did it enough times, it's not. Okay, so I hope that helps everybody to some degree, because I know I need to hear that once in a while. You need to review. You need to go back and just do the same stuff that you've done already, sometimes multiple times. And sometimes you need to try stuff that's over your head. But don't get attached to it. Don't get attached to having to get it. That'll cause you trouble. I remember when I first started teaching, people wanted to learn Stairway to Heaven, and they'd get so they have to learn the song. It's all they would focus on, and they manipulate their hands and do things that create tension and bad habits. And no, that's not the way to do it. Come at something that's difficult, make some attempts at it, adjust, then let it go. Move on. Go back to working on it, and then come back again later. And you'll say a month from now, oh yeah, that is a little bit easier. Don't get too attached to getting it the first time around or have to barrel through it, because that'll create bad habits that you have to undo later and a lot of tension. Okay, Dave says, I composed a little tune in the key of D. Good for you, Dave. My favorite thing, and I love to see students making up their own songs. The chord progression is all in the key of D except for the F major. I tried the F sharp minor, which it would be natural to the key of D, and it doesn't sound good to my ear. Or it doesn't sound as good. I don't change keys to F. I don't change keys to F, so would it be considered accidental? No. So, ironically, I think it's this month in the guitar sessions, I deal with just this issue with the song I Can See Clearly Now. I Can See Clearly Now, we're doing it in the key of D, but it ventures into two chords that aren't naturally in the key of D. One is the F chord, which is just what you mentioned, and the other is a C chord. So what he's saying is he knows diatonically, and that just means if you just take the notes from the D scale, that would be D, E, F sharp, G, G sharp, A, B, and C. C sharp, has to be C sharp. Yeah, okay. D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp. There it is. C sharp and F sharp, the key of D. When you make chords with those notes, there's not going to be an F chord, right? It's an F sharp. You can't have an F chord with F sharp, but you can. You see, it's not an absolute rule, first of all, that you have to only play chords that are in a key. Just, you don't have to have a reason. If it sounds good, it is good, really. I know people don't really believe it because I didn't for a long time, especially in school where we had all these theory rules that you had to follow. I get it. They're meant to just train you in certain ideas. And then when you get out of school or you start making your own music, you open up and start experimenting with things that aren't the rules. And that's actually the best stuff usually. So here's how people think about that, or at least one possible way. The F chord, if you're playing the key of D and you play an F chord, that chord is part of the key of D minor. So we can say we just borrowed a chord from a parallel minor key. So you have a major key, D major, and a minor key, D minor. They're parallel in that they're the same D, but one's major and one's minor. So we borrowed the F major from the D minor key, the parallel minor to D. And that's, whoops, I didn't like that pick anyway. I'm getting a better one. That's what the C chord is also. So let me show you what I'm talking about. Let's start with the C. Here's the song I Can See Clearly Now, so it makes sense in your ear. I can see clearly now. It's way too low for my voice, but we'll fake it. I can see all obstacles in my way. So I'm shortening this verse. Then it goes da 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 da. Watch this. Da 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 da. That C chord is not in the notes. You can't use the notes from the key of D major to make a C chord, C sharp, right? But it sounds good, doesn't it? Certainly don't tell the American public that song's wrong. It sounds good. And who knows? It sounds good because we've heard so many times. I don't know. It sounds good. The same with the verse. No, the chorus. No, the middle section. The middle section goes like this. Look all around, there's nothing but blue sky. Look straight ahead, there's nothing but... Oh, no, I remember now. Look all around, there's it goes. There's an F in there, I swear. Look all around, that's it, nothing but look straight ahead, nothing but blue sky. Boy, it doesn't work with my voice at all, but that F chord sounds good in the song. And it's using both it's basically just jumped into the parallel key of D minor. And again, that's an interpretation. You see, people make these interpretations and rules because they like the sound, and they're just making up an intellectual rule. All the music is like that. The rules don't make the music. The music makes the rules. People make up the rules after they found something they like. And that changes over time, obviously. You know, from classical music, over time people experiment. Now there's something that was evil, like this tritone, the used to be considered kind of an evil sound back in the Baroque days, that now it's a good sound, and it's a part of our normal cultural sound. Spicy. So I hope that helps. You now know modal interchange. That's the technical name for borrowing chords from a different key or a different mode. That's a broader name than key. See, there are actually more than major or minor. There's Ionian, Phrygian, there are a bunch of modes. So you could borrow from another mode as well. And if it sounds good, it's good. I'm an older beginner. This is Michael. I'm not interested in soloing, and I'm never playing a band. I'm playing primarily for my own enjoyment, and I'm playing for friends and family, possibly friends and family. I've taken private lessons for about a year. I've learned 15 chords, open chords, scales, the 5th and 6th string scales, 5 minor pentatonic scales, and 7 modes. Oh, okay. He already knows the 7 modes. All forwards and backwards. Wow. Go, Michael. Now, I am now working on bar chords. Yes. Is there a course of study for people like me who would like to play songs? Maybe include a riff in the song and increase the chord change speed. Very practical. I feel as though I'm devoted a lot of time, effort, and money that I could have used elsewhere. So in summary, I think you're saying you're not happy with your progress, at least in terms of where you want to go, your goal. But you do know the scales and stuff backward and forwards. First of all, let me say, Michael, that's no easy feat. To know the modes backwards and forwards, congratulations, really. I don't know the modes backwards and forwards. I know the ones I use most often, but all modes I don't. And I don't know if I ever will, because I don't have an occasion to use them all in my improvising or playing. And yeah, the 5 minor pentatonic scales, great. Yeah, the 15 open chords. So the first thing that's the first thing I would say. That's quite a feat. A second, I'm thinking you and your teacher need to talk. I don't think your teacher is really clear on your goals and what you want to do with the guitar. And that's not uncommon. People kind of think of their teachers sometimes as kind of up here, and you just got to do whatever they tell you to do. But as a teacher, and I hire and train teachers, by the way. I own a physical music school, and for years I've hired teachers. I interview them. I develop a training program for guitar teachers in particular, but I have to hire all kinds of teachers. So I have to know a little about all the instruments and what to look for. They'll tend to teach you in general what they want to teach, as opposed to really focusing on what you need to get to where you want to go. And I found as a student, it's really best to kind of take the reins there a little bit, not tell your teacher how to teach, but get clear on, make sure they understand what you're wanting to do. I'll tell you, And again, your teacher might be brilliant. He just is not understanding really where you want to go with this. But learning modes and all the scales to play songs and riffs between songs, and clearly you don't want to solo, at least at this top point. You might change your mind, by the way. Soloing's a lot of fun, and a lot of people are afraid of it because it looks too complicated or too difficult. But you have spent a lot of time doing something that's like kind of like going around the block 17 times when you're trying to get across the street to the store. I'll tell you, the getting faster at changing chords should be one of your top priorities. 15 open chords. One thing I found students in general is they kind of like to learn a lot of chords, and teachers teach it because they want to keep in mind there's pressure on a teacher. I know this. I know it from my teachers as well as myself. You want to keep a student happy, because otherwise, even if you're teaching them the exact right thing they need to learn, if they don't know that, they don't understand that, or they're just frustrated, they might quit and you're out of paycheck. In a school like mine, that's not as critical because we'll just put our student in there. But if you're teaching at home, I mean, it's hard to get students. And they say, I don't want to learn the songs too hard. I'm frustrated. I quit. Your part of your rent money is in jeopardy. Okay? I'm exaggerating a little bit, but you see what I mean? It's 15 chords. Students like to say, I know all these chords, but they're useless unless you can change between them and use them. And most students that I've found cannot. I don't know you, but I know most students that come to me and say, I know these 24 chords or 12 chords, and then they play them, and they cannot change from one chord to another in time smoothly, even a few of them. I would rather see you learn 3, 4 chords and in a key that you could use to play songs, and be able to change them quickly and smoothly without fumbling, on time, without hesitation, without the speeding up and slowing down that I see students do all the time, because they need to get to that next chord and they need time to finger it. And so they start wavering with their time and they can't even tell. Play with a metronome, play on time, go as slow as you have to and change from one chord to the other. Then add one more chord and integrate that, and same thing. My guess is, if you know 15 chords backwards and forwards, you probably need to go back and learn to change on time with just a few chords, and then go back little by little and add the chords. Playing maybe some songs in between that you could use the chords for practice. I'm not a fan of just learning song. It's a slow, inefficient way to learn to change chords. One example is you got a difficult chord, new chord, and you play a song and the chord comes up once or twice in the song. You have to play the whole song a dozen times to practice the chord a dozen times. Now you've spent an hour playing songs when you could have spent 10 minutes playing a focus exercise to really work on that chord and get the fingering clear in your mind and get your fingers moving. I just picked up a chord a little while ago and I was practicing that. Within 5 minutes, I played that chord about 50 times because I was just praying from one to the other that I needed to switch from. If I had waited to do that in the song, it would have taken me all day. So that's just one example of why I don't think just learning songs is efficient. But it is a great part of a program, especially if you strategically pick the songs to match up with what you're working on, the key and the chords that you're practicing, and maybe one new one kind of thing. And if it's too hard in the song, go back and just practice that one chord with an exercise and integrate it into the song. Scales, I would start with just probably 1 or 2 scales at the most, and I would not go into modes. If you're not looking to improvise or play jazz or something, everybody, I'm sure there are different opinions on that, so I won't get too heavy in that. Michael, talk to your teacher. Tell him, he or she, that, here's what I'm trying to do. I would really like a path to get there. Could we focus on things that would get me there? You may want to try my Real Guitar Success program. What you described is exactly what this is made for. You are probably going to feel like you have to go back and review some things, quite honestly, but you sound like you're willing. If you're willing, you need to change chords faster and learn some riffs. And I would encourage you to do my guitar sessions. These are sessions once a day. You'll get a 10-minute lesson. And I show you a song and I show you some riffs. You practice them ahead of time, then you integrate into the song. And then little by little, you're collecting all these songs and riffs. You decide if you want to put it in your bookmark and come back and practice it more later. This is just what you're describing. This is just the way I would teach you if I heard your goals and you came to me for lessons. And quite frankly, the website is better than me teaching you personally. First of all, it's a lot more affordable than what I would charge you for lessons. And second of all, you can go back and review day and night. With my schedule, the schedule would be hell. And with the internet, you can do it anytime you want. And you can go back and review. And I couldn't make it any easier, I don't think. But I'm always open to ideas and improvements. Okay, I hope that helps, Michael. That's a tough one. I've been there more than once, quite frankly. I've had a lot of teachers, and some are better than others. Some listen better than others. But a lot of teachers know it's sort of like they have the saying, if you're good with a hammer, everything looks like a nail. If you get a guitar teacher that's like really good with improvising and likes to improvise, and you want to learn chords and songs and riffing songs, they're going to want to push what they like and know. And, in their mind, they can justify, eventually the modes will help you understand what you're doing. Again, it's just not the most efficient way to get to where you want to go. And you're likely, from what you're doing, this is the exact recipe that I've seen students get frustrated and quit, even though they're basically have discipline and dedication, but they just don't see it happening. They don't see in themselves getting to where they want to go or doing what they want to do with the guitar. Hope it helps. Okay, please ask me questions. And if you could start with the word question, I really appreciate it. If you don't put the word question, I'm probably going to miss it. I just can't sort out all the comments from the questions. And if I do miss it, I apologize ahead of time. Just add the question again. I bound to see it the second or third time, especially if you add the word question before. Hey, Tim. Hola from sunny Florida. You're welcome, David. David says, thanks for the explanation. Any tips for bar chords? I'm struggling with them. Absolutely. First of all, know you're not alone. Bar chords are one of the hardest things. One of the things I find with students that really makes it hard, and they don't realize it, is that they're playing these open chords, and there's this you get the strategy after a while, kind of how to bend your fingers and all, and hopefully how to switch from one to the other. But then you go to bar chords, and everything changes. It's a totally different technique, and most people underestimate that. I did. I just thought it was kind of a natural progression. It's like going from here to here. It's a whole different technique. The way to approach that is to start, even while you're still working on your open chords, just start doing exercises to learn bar. One of the first ones I like is practicing the bar across the neck. There's several different exercises that I use. One of them is just barring across the neck and playing one string at a time and then releasing it. If you try to hold it down, it's going to hurt. But just feel what it's like to be able to make each string sound. By the way, if you need to double up with your finger, go ahead. Don't worry about that. There's more to it. Why that doesn't matter, because when you add the other bar, it's going to relieve some pressure anyway. So don't worry about getting extra help. That's a fast version. I would go slower than that and then go up to the next fret. And so on, and then go back down. Don't do this once or twice. Do this every day for 2 or 3 minutes. And you're strengthening your bar finger. And then I have several more where you press part of the strings. And I'll put a link to the show notes. So when you come back on, if you come check the show notes on Monday, I'll have a link to some exercises for you. This is strengthening your finger, going to make it easier when you make bar chords. You're going to want to practice exercises with the other part of the bar chord, the chord. So I basically have students make an E chord, but with the 3 fingers instead of the first one, because now it's free to make a bar. And then play that up and down the neck. Now, eventually, you're going to put that bar and those things together to make a bar chord. And you'll see it's a lot easier then trying to play a song and you get to F chord. Now you got to form the F chord, and then it comes around again one more time in the song, and you play that same song 20 times, and you've practiced an hour, and you've practiced the F chord maybe a dozen times. It's very inefficient. Practice your exercises for bar chords before you want to play bar chords, and while you're still playing open chords. Then when you start playing bar chords, don't start with the F chord. The problem with the F chord is you need it to play a lot of songs, because you need it in the key of C, and the F chord is the hardest bar chord, or one of the hardest. Not the hardest, but it's hard. It's because it's right up here by the neck. If you could start practicing your bar chords up here, it'll be much easier, and then you just back it up little by little and you can play the F. Okay, that was a lot. I was trying to condense, what would be a whole course on bar chords into, a few minutes here. I just hope it helps. If nothing else, knowing that they are hard and you need to work on it a little at a time, I hope makes it easier in your mind rather than thinking there's something wrong with you. And I know that's what a lot of students come to me. They think they should be able to play the bar chords. They can play the open chords. I hope that's more clear for you now. Okay, next. That was PSH. RGS rocks. Thank you, Robin. I think so too. Thanks a ton for the explanation. You're very welcome, PSH. So that's all the questions I have for now. I'm going to do the drawing, and while I'm doing the drawing, if you think of a question, just add it there. I'll look and try and answer any last-minute questions before we close up for today. Let's put down this guitar, my beautiful Martin. Okay. So again, for those who came in after where I explained this, we do a drawing once a month for members of Real Guitar Success. You get a chance to do a guitar session each weekday, Monday through Friday. Only ask that you spend 10 minutes on it and then check it off. You're in. If you want to spend more time, you put it in your bookmarks and just come back at it whenever you want. But putting your 10 minutes in will expose you to new techniques, give you a chance to see what's available and decide what you want to add to your own favorites, which is basically making your own customized program. And then at the end of the month, having checked them off, I put you in a drawing for a $50 Amazon gift card. And that's what this is. And let's see, for this month, the Amazon gift card goes to Jama. Jama, you get your Amazon gift card. Not the first time Jama has won. He's very diligent about completing his guitar sessions. And everybody who's participated and checked off, spent your 10 minutes, checked off, you are a winner, believe me. It's much more valuable than the gift card. Though I'm happy to just throw in a gift card to make it more of a game and a little more fun. Just any motivation. I'm looking, I learned over the years with students that if I can throw in a little extra motivation here and there, sometimes just what they need to get over a hump. So I hope you take it in the sense of it's just a game. I'm just trying to make it a little more fun. Thank you for joining me, and thank you for being here. It's a pleasure to be able to share my love of playing guitar and what I've learned over the years and what I've learned not to do. And I hope that it helps you to find as much joy and pleasure in playing music that I've found over the years. I'll be back the first Thursday of every month. Thanks, Thomas. One more question. So it's okay to do the guitar sessions even though I'm still in the beginner? Robin, yes, it is. Absolutely. And again, as long as you keep in mind, your only job is to spend 10 minutes, not to get the guitar session. Just to consider it an exposure to some new material. Then you decide, does this fit where you're at, what you want to do? Put it in your bookmarks and save it. If you think you got to do your guitar session and get it, you're dead in the water because there's going to be something too hard for you. And then it's going to be frustrating. You got to change your mind. Two things. Step-by-step learning, that's the beginner's journey course, the bar chord course. Step by step, one thing builds on the other. Then there's the other style of learning, which is very similar to when I went to Spain and had to talk to people in Spanish. I had some basics, but I could not talk. And I just had to do my best and pick up. It's immersion. And that's what guitar sessions are. They're immersion. You're not supposed to get them. You're being exposed, immersed in different techniques and styles. And you get a chance to go back and practice them. So two things, step by step and immersion. They work together. Don't make the mistake of thinking immersion is the same as step-by-step and you have to treat it the same. Good. Good question. Thanks, Robin. Okay, I'm going to close up for today. I'll be back the first Thursday of next month. I hope to see you there. And feel free to submit questions ahead of time if you want. Take care.